Well, remember when we were the so-called conspiracy theorists that said the West was getting ready for war with Russia? They laughed. They mocked people like you. They mocked people like me. Well, remember when the so-called conspiracy theorists showed you the Pentagon think tank documents laying out how the United States is preparing to bring back a military draft because a war with Russia and China would cost 3,600 casualties per day, ranging from those killed in action to those who are, mutilated as a result of it. We don't have the men to do it. So we need a draft according to their own documents. Do you remember months ago when we, the so-called conspiracy theorists, said the UK was preparing for conscription, a military draft to battle Russia? Yeah, we covered that here on the show. Do you remember when the so-called conspiracy theorists said that Scandinavia would become the next hot zone for war with Russia? Well, we were right once again, as Ivor Cummings tweeted yesterday. Oh my God, do the so-called conspiracy theorists have to be correct on frickin' everything? This would be getting boring if it wasn't so supremely sinister. Yeah, I wish we could laugh about it, but war is not funny, and the thousands of young men who are going to die is not funny at all. Just look at Ukraine, a decimated country as a result of what these globalists want. But we've been calling it out here. So what is he referring to? Well, conscription in Britain. That's what's severely, supremely sinister. Conscription in Britain is what he's referring to, a draft in Britain to get their military ready for war with Russia. This week, the head of the Army of Britain is warning that they need to get their civilian army ready, face reality that a draft to build up a citizen army for potential mobilization against Russia is needed.
The British Army has warned Brits that they could be called up to fight for the King and country in the event of war with Russia.
General Patrick Sanders today called on the British authorities to mobilise the nation, stressing the need for a shift in the minds of the public to be mentally prepared for a military conflict.
Yeah, get mentally prepared. So what exactly is he calling for? Let's go through this. And he says the British Army is facing the same dwindling military as the United States, and the Army will fall to just 72,500 soldiers by 2025. But they would need 120,000 to go to war with Russia. By the way, 120,000? That's what you're going to fight Russia with?
Right. Ukraine already has lost at least that much in just half of the war. Yeah, so what are you planning to do? Yeah, 120,000. Good luck with that. I'm reminded of the Dark Knight? Batman, the Dark Knight movie? When the guy's like figures out that Bruce Wayne, is the one who has all the tumblers going all across Gotham City, and he goes in and he meets with Fox and he's like, I have this evidence that Bruce Wayne, he's like, wait a minute, so your plan? Oh, right. Is to blackmail this one individual. Yeah, that's what I think of. Like, you're going to go up against this with that? Okay. And then he just says, good luck with that. Right. Good luck with that. See how that's going to roll for you. The general also said he'd like to see the military spending increase, and he'd like to see the nation coalesce around, quote, taking preparatory steps to enable us to place our societies on a war footing when needed are now not desirable but essential. Here's, and by the way, the UK media is really all in on this, really supporting, of course, this new stance. Watch.
But there are reasons why such a senior figure within the military would be saying this. And one of them is to reach the British public and remind them about the state of readiness in this country should the worst happen.
The UK is already involved in supporting multiple war efforts in Ukraine and elsewhere. And while the future of warfare may be unpredictable, the armed forces need people.
I think we've got to be ready. The way the world situation is, it's different.
If you ask the people over 60, they would be up for it. Citizen Army, they would love that idea. The younger generation, I don't think, would be up for it.
But Jade, aged 25, disagrees.
Do you think your generation would kind of be ready to step up like that?
I think so, yeah. I think so. Although everybody would be scared, I think so. I think there's a lot of people that want to help now.
The Defence Secretary insisted that recruiting and retaining members of all of the armed forces is a top priority.
Can you give a commitment now? He'll come to the House before Easter to make a statement about what we're doing about retention of critical armed forces personnel.
I am working very hard to make sure that, in common with actually many Western militaries, armed forces, that we do have the men and women we need for our armed forces, skilled up to the right levels and capable of taking on this challenge.
Yeah. So before Easter, let's find out how many men we really need and how are we going to keep the people we currently have and then add on the tens of thousands that we need in the UK to go up against Russia.
You know, if you're a journalist and you go out and you say, let's see what the average person on the street says about this, if they talk to at least 10 people, they had to have had footage of someone saying, I do not want that. I do not want my kids to die. I do not want to go myself. They left those people out. So either they really did not find any anti-war voices, or they edited that in a pro-war way. Which one do you think that is? Because I am skeptical that they didn't have anybody on camera that said no thank you to a draft.
Yeah, I mean, there was no one that said no thank you to a draft.
Not in their piece?
No.
But I would imagine that more people would say that than not.
Like
no,
a
thank you.
25-year-old Jade who's pushing a baby. It's
Right.
like, yeah, I'm good for that.
What about this baby's father?
Yeah, you know, his father, you know, he's down at the pub anyway. I might as well just send him off to war.
Mm-hmm.
Send him off to fight Russia and die because it's working out really well for Ukraine. In fact, all across the British media, the mainstream media, they're bringing on military experts who support this. Watch.
There's been voices raised showing real concern over our lack of preparedness, our lack of resilience, and most recently over really very abysmal recruiting and retention figures. I mean, the government's plan is to have us reduced formally by 2025 to 72,000 soldiers in the field. Now, that's well below the lowest figure we've ever been since the Napoleonic Wars. But the sad reality of that is, as our current recruiting retention figures continue, we're actually going to be about 70,000. So we're going to be below even that abysmally low figure. And that trend's been at the case for nearly 10 years. So there's a real issue now about that, plus a recognition that we live in a very dangerous world. And I think the warnings from the Swedish Prime Minister, who was also the Estonian Prime Minister, that actually within 3 to 5 years, Russia could be in a place where they could do us real harm, is absolutely there. You know, we need to get to a place now where, in a way, it hasn't existed for a generation. Defence spending, and how we organise our armed forces has actually got to become a national issue.
Well, that's a chicken or egg argument, isn't it? The world's dangerous. We make it that way.
Right.
So we could either be peace-mongering. I mean, which came first? Our making the world dangerous or our needing the military, right? Peace is not an option there.
Well, he mentioned Sweden, by the way, if you're paying attention. He mentioned Sweden, which is almost now a NATO member, and Russia has warned that they will not stand by as NATO creeps to their back doorstep. And of course, as a result of that, now Swedes are being told to prepare for war. It's like, well, here's the thing. What if they just didn't do that? Why do they have to prepare for war? A country that has obviously been neutral and for more than 200 years. Now Swedes are calling for the population to prepare for war. This week, top Swedish officials have urged people to prepare for a potential war. Officials said that Sweden must brace for potential confrontation with Russia. The Swedish foreign minister said Stockholm must be realistic and be prepared. The country's defense minister said Russia's war in Ukraine could or will come to Sweden. And then I found this fascinating. So Swedes right now are immediate, like when they heard about this, they're heading to the hardware store. They've been stocking up on equipment, buying crisis kits. We've heard from a number of our Swedish viewers who said, yeah, they're scared. They've been buying fuel, buying lamp oil, matches, water tanks, preparing for a war. So what now? What will America do in this effort? What now? What will the American people do? Will they go along with this boondoggle? Will the Americans go along with the draft in the United States? Scott Ritter is asking this very same question.
The United States Army just had a shortfall in recruiting. They are literally tens of thousands of personnel short of what their authorized manning strength is, which means instead of expanding the U.S. Army, they have to shrink it. They don't have enough men or women to fill the ranks. And so certain units, certain capabilities are being taken down to zero because you don't have manpower to do this. And now Congress is talking about beefing up. With what? Are you going to go to a draft? Have you run that by the American people?
Yeah. How do the American people, how do you feel about that? About a draft in the United States? You know, this is obviously all the talk in Britain right now and Sweden, but what about the United States? It's been a great mystery over the past few years. Why are, millions of military-age men arriving in the United States? Of course, many of them coming from China with no families, no luggage. They're given money. They're given refugee status in the United States. And you can see here, you see this massive line of illegal immigrants standing here, just being brought into the United States with their luggage in hand, just standing here with just like a simple little backpack. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Well, up in early December, Dick Durbin, senator from
Illinois,
thank you, was on the floor of Congress, and he explained why all of these people are here potentially.
What troubles me about the debate now about the southern border is it is one half of the immigration equation. Yes, we need order at the border. Yes, we need to have changes in the laws that reflect the reality of the overwhelming numbers from all over the world who are coming to our shores and our border. But there is also an incredible demand for legal immigration into this country even now. The presiding officer, my colleague from the state of Illinois, has legislation which addresses one aspect of that. Her bill, and I hope I describe it accurately, says that if you're an undocumented person in this country and you can pass the physical and the required test, background test, the like, you can serve in our military, and if you do it honorably, we will make you citizens of the United States. Do we need that? Do you know what the recruiting numbers are at the Army and the Navy and the Air Force? They can't reach their quotas each month. They can't find enough people to join our military forces. And there are those who are undocumented who want the chance to serve and risk their lives for this country. Should we give them the chance? I think we should. And let me tell you about...
should we give them a chance?
Let's wrap it up in patriotism.
Die for papers.
Do you want to die? Do you want to die for America? Or is it going to give you citizenship? Bring you in so you can fight our wars? We can go to Scandinavia. We can fight in these foreign wars. It's unbelievable to me.
What about the military now is inspiring to young people to get involved with in the first place? Like, what are they all know what we're doing overseas? We're like, the terrorists of the world. And it's like, what is inspiring people? Like, if you weren't doing that, if you weren't starting all these wars and you had something that was a legitimate cause, you would have people still joining the military. So it's, kind of crazy. They got to bring people from other countries in order to justify these wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, guys, a war in Scandinavia is coming. I mean, just watch my interview with Michael Horn from a few weeks ago where he lays out exactly what's about to happen in Scandinavia. It's no mystery for people who have been paying attention. I know many of you in our audience know exactly what's coming in Scandinavia. It's been in the cards for a long time. So what is America going to do? What is the United Kingdom going to do? Are they going to allow these globalists to push this agenda and to push a draft and a military conscription? I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. YouTube thinks that you'll actually like this next video right here. It's personalized based on your own viewing habits. So if you watch the video, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think about it. And we will see you next time, everyone.